Hi. Howdy, Chris.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing well.
A lot of advertising they had in the Beverly.
Good morning.
Issue, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of ads.
Wait.
Y'all
Hey, Chris,
video.
Yes, Steven.
so you can hear me at the Zoom meeting?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, then I guess I've succeeded.
Chris, can you see or hear me?
I can.
Hi, Meg.
Okay.
Chris, can you see me?
I can. Can you guys
Okay.
see the banner?
Yes.
We saw it at the beginning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Oh,
Yes.
here I am. Ta-da.
Yep. Just launch LA. Launch LA. Yeah. LA.org.
Hey, okay.
LA.
Hi, Meg.
Hi,
Yeah.
Pam.
LAUNCH. LAUNCH. LA.org.
Hi, Jane.
Andrea.
Hello, Pam.
Hello.
Where are you?
Well, I don't know. I don't.
You're in cyberspace.
Yes, someplace out there. I can see Meg.
Me, I'd rather
Meg,
not.
see me? Meg, can you see me?
No, I can't see you either.
Yeah. Service related. Yeah. Service on.
Steve, you're not visual yet.
Well, Chris,
Hi, Meg.
I'll be right back.
Great. You've been really helpful.
This is
Thank you for your feedback.
fabulous.
hey.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. I can see you now.
Hi.
Have a great day. Thanks.
Steve, I don't see you though.
It's not, you're not seeing me.
Jennifer.
Start your video.
I got it.
Like there's gonna be a lot of people on here.
Is that Steve Rosenthal?
Yeah, sure is.
Well,
There we go.
where the hell are you?
There we go.
I'm behind the LACMA painting.
Hey, I thought you're in Colorado.
Maybe.
Hey, Pamela.
Hello. There you
Now
are.
I see you.
Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah.
Chris, let's give it a few more minutes before we really get started, please.
Okay, Meg. Will do.
There they come.
Oh, it looks like tons of people.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
I think I'm good.
I'll be right
We'll see.
Oh, Wally's
I
here.
can see you, Steve.
Yay, Wally.
I'm here.
Our guy.
Is that Wally Marks the third?
Yeah, I'm with my saber-toothed cats.
He sounds like a Croatian Californian to me.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see your faces.
Where's your
Hello,
face?
Wally.
Hey, James.
Thank you, Wally. Being here. For being
David,
here.
yeah.
Wouldn't miss it. I have
Let's
other.
give it 2 more minutes, please.
Sure.
Got a nice full house today. I'm very pleased about that.
Good.
David, how you doing?
And they're easy to use. Oh. Okay, there we go.
Somebody's got a dog. Okay.
It was perfect that you were here. It was like I could use it as a table. It just came out.
Got 30. This is good. AJ. Woohoo!
Hey guys.
Hi.
are we about ready to get started then?
I think we're good.
Okay, welcome to all of you for this virtual luncheon with the Greater Miracle Mile Chamber of Commerce. We're delighted you could join us today. And we have a wonderful presentation by Mr. Marks. And I also need to note that this particular luncheon has been sponsored by Television City, so we appreciate that very much. That's what being a chamber is about, is being sponsored by those who are in our community, and we love that. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our absolutely stellar president, Mr. Stephen Kramer. Steve, it's all yours.
You think so?
Yeah.
It worked. It worked. Well, I'm going to introduce Wally. I'm going to introduce Wally Marks, and I'm going to read a little bit because some of this I didn't know. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes,
Somebody
Steve.
Yep.
say yes.
Yes.
Let's feedback. All right, Wally's a fifth-generation Californian who grew up in Los Angeles as a member of a family dedicated to civic philanthropy. He studied engineering and architecture at Berkeley, and in 1988, he joined his family's real estate business. Among his accomplishments is what I would refer to as the total redevelopment and reimagining of the Helms Bakery property on Venice Boulevard. Everything that you see there now came popping out of Wally's mind over the last, Wally, how many years has it been? Can he hear me?
I'm on mute.
I
I've been doing this for 30 years. But yes, thanks.
And he's still 35. It's amazing.
That's good.
Wally was the co-founder and president of the Miracle Mile Civic Coalition. He was the chairman and board member of the Craft Contemporary Museum. He's a member of St. Elmo's Village, which is a live-work art colony, very special place in the city. He also was a board trustee of the Merriman School, and he was a member of the Culver City Chamber of Commerce, although he's been a great supporter of the Greater Miracle Mile Chamber of Commerce since its inception. That's what I have to say about a very nice and decent man.
It's very
Okay.
kind.
Wally, are you ready to tell us what's it all about at the Mirabel?
Sure, I will. It's always hard to hear accolades. I'm not good at that. Almost 2 years ago, I'm a board of governors at Natural History Museum. Supervisor Sheila Kuehl appointed me onto that, so I've been working with them, and I'm the point person regarding the La Brea tar pits improvements with respect to the board, at least on the committee level. So I'll add that into it too. We have definitely, so Steve and Meg and Chris, thank you, and all the others that helped put this on, and for all of you taking time out of your day, thank you. We do have a little slideshow. We are going to keep this. We were told we only had, a few minutes to do this, so we will move quickly. So I think Andrea and Amy, are you geared up? There we go. Wow. So, right. So for some of you, you've seen images of the building or articles about it, the Beverly Press, LA Times, other items. This is a project that is between Cloverdale and Cochran on the Miracle Mile. It's a site that our family has owned for the majority of it since 1968. And in 90, we reimagined it with Staples Office Supply, and they are our current tenant. Real fast, according to the way and the schedules that we're doing things, one could break ground in about 18 months. Obviously, that's subject to getting a permit, and we're in our entitlement phase. And there's many more opportunities for public input on this project. We will be going in front of the Planning Commission. We just don't have a date. It's going to get pushed because of just the nature of the virus and how it's taken a toll on city processes. But it'll probably hopefully be in the first quarter of 2021. So there's opportunity for all of you to support, and for those that may not support our project, to have your voice heard. And it's something that Andrea, I didn't introduce you, Andrea. Sorry about that. Andrea here, waving, is she's with a company called Consensus, and they are helping me get this project out in the community, be my advocate to represent us and to do outreach. We've done a lot of outreach on an individual and on organizational levels. We were going to continue with that throughout the end of this year, and we want to garner support for sure. And we also want to listen to people that want us to make recommendations and find ways to improve the project. So, you know, we've always done that. It's something I've always done with all of our properties and in my engagements.
And I'm a Miracle Mile resident.
And you are a Miracle Mile resident for many years as well.
So, hello, neighbors.
Thank you. So, okay, so we'll get to the next slide. Enough of this animation. Real fast, yeah, it's a little blurred. It's whatever Steve said, that's what it's up. Too fast, you guys should go to the next slide. Yes, we've redone the Helms Bakery. Amy, we can go to the next slide, just to keep things moving. And I've always said, if you liked what I did at the Helms Bakery.
Wally,
Yep.
just to interrupt, you can take your time. You have time, so don't feel like you have to rush through it.
Well, I want to be respectful. So as you can see on the slide, this is our site, which we own. You can see where the metro stations are on the right, and you can see we're adjacent to what is called the Lee Tower, the black tower that's there, and then across the street from the Wilshire Dominguez, down the street from the Next slide. And many of you may know we have a community design overlay that was created in the 90s. Some of you might have been on the committee with me. I helped draft the CDO back in the day with the city, and it was a community effort. And so the yellow are the zones, are the properties that are affected by the CDO. And there are guidelines about design and how the project, all projects should face the street and engage with our community. Next slide. So this is, okay, good. I don't think that's coming from me, but so this is the existing slide, and this is looking at Cochran looking east. All right, next slide. And this is the Sontag building from the 1930s, you can see, and what it looks like today with the current tenant in there, Wilshire Beauty Supply. We purchased this building, and Wilshire Beauty Supply is going to be relocating. I think they've secured a site in the Miracle Mile here. They were really trying hard. They've owned this property for a long time, and our goal is to preserve this in place and to bring this back, the facade, so it is emblematic of quality of what it was in the 1930s, 40s. And to enter, and you'll see in a bit how we're going to put more retail back into it and stuff. So next one. And ZIMAS is a zoning map, so we're just showing you how our site lays out. We have a split zone between a C4 and a C2, and adjacent to the multifamily residences to the north in the orangish color. All right, thank you. Next one. And so we have just so you know what, on the entitlement side, and I will keep the nerdy numbers at bay, but the one column on the left is what is allowed. The term by right is not correct, but if you want to use that word, that's what the underlying zoning. And if we want to get into a density bonus incentive, is what we are doing, by adding affordable housing units, we would then be able to increase our units that we're allowed, and we can go from 260 units to 352. That's the middle one, and the far right one is what we're proposing is just under the maximum number of units. We're doing, instead of 29 units, we're doing 38 units of affordable, so we're voluntarily adding 9 moderate level units into the mix to bring us to 38. It is a tall tower. It is a big building. It's over 530 feet tall. It's true. We are parking it above what the density bonus numbers are at 477. We'll get into parking and stuff in a bit, and also about bike parking and trees, and you can read that. So next slide. So part of, how we got to our tower, we call these point towers, which are this podium level on the street edge. And then this is what was built, 80, 90 years ago, were these beautiful towers that we all love and cherish. And so next slide. Really how we got to our building and why we were building it this way. And what we didn't want to do was build a rectangular box, which is what a lot of buildings start as because they're the most efficient. And I'm quickly moving through this. For us in building a residential tower, it's all about the view. And so you can see as we move from left to right, how we sort of started shaping the building to maximize the views. And then we came down with the larger one at the bottom, which we felt is unfortunately not as efficient as a rectangular box. But we also think it takes up the swirl, the motion that we are picking up from the 5401 Wilshire Blvd Supply building, and trying to take those feelings about fluidity and about the Art Deco streamlined nature on the ground level all the way up through the tower. Next slide. And so that's the shapes that you sort of get the sense of, and we have other pictures. And this is obviously a photo rendering of a restored 5401 building, and then our parking podium above and our street edge, and then the tower floating above, sort of detached.
Thank you. Hang on to Al Baskin's signature. I need it all the time.
Okay, maybe that's Steve. Never mind.
No,
Anyway,
I'll try to find out who it is. But if you're listening and you're unmuted, please mute yourself.
Got that now, right?
Okay. Anyway, we're really looking at the investment that we want, and I think everyone here at the chamber, it's about business and networking and building strong bonds from street edge to street edge. And I think when we put in the new restaurants and new retail shops and the new dollars on the ground level, I think it's a forward-moving advancement towards what we all want on our streets. For 30 years that I've been involved in the Miracle Mile, which is a walkable neighborhood where we can do the things and meet our friends and shop and stay local. Next slide. And so this is a picture of what the improved sidewalk it would look like. Remember, we've got 20-foot sidewalks. So part of our elements are picking up elements from other Art Deco eras and how awnings and projections are done. And as you can sort of see, the swirling white nature of our podium, our parking above, is also picking up the motion we learned and appreciate from 5401. Next one. And a night vision of maybe our outdoor dining at our restaurants along Wilshire. You can see the trees that we want to do and the parks and the benches. There's bicycle racks and the like. We would be doing a new sidewalk paving as well along the sidewalk for the whole block. Next one. And on the side street, this is where the entry into the lobby, and we have a porte-cochere, a driveway between Cochran and Cloverdale. This is the Cochran side. We plan to have a coffee house with outdoor dining as well, or outdoor seating as well as indoor seating, in a way to sort of blend, not to just make the lobby a private space, but the lobby actually becomes a public space where residents and business people and people can come for small bites and coffee on this side of the building would be able to enter and engage and feel a part of the project. So gives you a sense of the street edge there. Next slide. And so also we were trying to pick up the beautiful palm trees on the opposite side of the street and to pick up that cadence. So these are Canary Island palms. They do create shade, which is not typical for all the palm trees, but you get a sense of the nightlife and the activity that we hope to generate by the stores that we bring in here. The middle space, it says Mirabel, it might be hard to read, is actually a secondary entrance to one, get into the parking level above, which is in that shielded podium level. There's 2 levels of patron parking. So there's elevators and stairs, as well as a way for residents who are coming from the subway or bus or walking back into the building that don't want to walk all the way around Cochran rather, would go into Wilshire here and be able to enter the residential apartment tower I noticed one of the questions was, is it condos or apartments? And it's apartments. So you can see shade by visibility, consistency. That's what we're trying to create here. Next slide. So quickly by the numbers, real fast, 348 residential apartments, 38 affordable. We're doing automated parking underground. So we have underground parking of about 405 cars, I believe, and then the above ground to match the 477 total. And one thing about automated parking, which is something that I built at the Helms Bakery here a couple of years ago as a test, we have a 200 car above grade. And we're actually going to really encourage tours. So on our website, Andrea doesn't even know this, we're going to have a little event space that people could sign up and have a tour. So those that are interested to see what automated parking looks like, it's three-dimensional parking without people. It's all done by computers and pallets, moving cars around. And what I built at Helms is generation 1. What we're building here at the Mirabel in the Miracle Mile is probably generation 4. We've learned a lot in the past couple of years about making it better. And one of the things we're doing is being able to electrically charge every vehicle every night and that is parked in our automated system. So that's a novelty, that's a first. I don't think there's any building in Los Angeles or state of California that could say that and have it all done without people. And which, you know, I think will be really wonderful. You see the retail spots, the ground level is 14,000 feet, 39,000 feet of open space. So next level. Next level, next slide. So one of the things that we're really focused on, affordable housing, which I'm really proud about doing, that we're using the incentives that the city puts out for us. We are making sure that our parking stays on site. What we don't want to do, we do not want to add to the obvious parking problems that all the side streets have, because we have a big lack of parking in the residential communities. We don't want to add to that. We are going to have things like Zipcar, car sharing, meaning for both the community is able to get to on the podium level as well as inside the system. So residents will be encouraged. We're very big on technology on this project. We're actually teaming up with Siemens Corporation to monitor all our ones and zeros. But more than that, to encourage people maybe even to have one less car in their family, because we're going to have a certain number of fleet of cars that are rented by the hour that you would get electrified, you would get out of our automated parking system. So we're going to do everything we can to incentivize our residents and our employees that work at the building not to use a car. Because we're by the subway stop. We have a great bus line. We have a dash line in front of us. We need to use those because the only way we're going to get congestion reduced in our city is if a few of us, most of us, if possible, drive less or drive without not have a car. So, and then in the local economy, again, I hope to inspire other property owners, other retailers on the street today to reinvest in their buildings. And I think what we're doing, is making a big investment, obviously. And I'm just excited to what the Miracle Mile will become. Part of our project is also that we're spending, we have a Park and Recs open space fund, and we have $4 million to contribute. The goal is to put it locally into CD4 and into the mile. So we are looking for places where we can do that. So these are what we've heard and what we've heard from our past experience with community outreach. Some people were worried that we were tearing down existing housing. That's not the case. There's no existing housing on our site. So we're adding, all of this is new housing. And we're doing studios 1s and 2s and doing very low income level. That's the affordable, which is 50% of AMI. AMI is the county average income, which I think, don't hold me to it, but it might be around $75,000. So half of that would be $35,000 of household income. And then the voluntary 9 moderate units that we're looking at doing, that's a different threshold of AMI, and then the market rate. So next slide. And so there's a look down at the street edge and what we're looking to improve our sidewalks and improve the landscaping and shade and opportunities for people to sit and park their bikes and other items there along the street. Next slide. And there was a request from the community to add additional park space. So we found a space here on Cloverdale side that we will have another open space for people to sit. And you can see we're doing a lot of greening. We're really doing our best to soften the edge, the pedestrian level with a lot of trees on the street. And obviously, and then above we have that podium level, which is above our level 4 parking area, is full of trees by code and by design. But that is really for the residents of the building. Next slide. One of the things that we are, the building is very close to our immediate neighbors. Greening the wall, as you can see what we're doing, and continuing that from Cochran to Cloverdale. It's a way to soften that edge, but that is the entrance on what you're seeing on Cochran here is the entrance that goes upstairs, up the ramp that goes up to the public parking area. And then we have a fitness center above, which is the area or the building you see that is not part of the tower, but it's on our north edge up there on top. That's what that building is. Next slide. So one of the things I just wanted to point out, our tower is very slender. You can see the Lee Tower in white, which is black in nature, but white here, how tall that building is. But really the podium levels were very important. The Lee Tower at 63, we're at 49 feet. Keeping a street edge is really important, and we were asked to reduce it by the city planners, which we did. We were at 3 levels, we've reduced it to 2. And we're more in line with the roof lines, as you can see, to the building to our right between Cloverdale and Detroit. And I think that's an important feature, that street edge and how the pedestrian experiences our building, walking on the street, the drivers experience the building, is really important. And I think lowering the building and keeping that podium down is a good thing, and it's a city policy. So you get a sense. And so that's the nature and the curving nature of our building. One thing about curved buildings, which is really good, it has less glare, believe it or not, than a rectangular flat edge when a sun hits it. So it's one of the positive effects of that. We've also done shadow studies, and because of the slender nature of our building, it does cast a longer shadow, but it does cast a narrow shadow, really one season of the year out of the 4. The others really cast it down upon the commercial area. And we have that, and we have a website which we'll get to, but you can see all this data on your own time, not through this sort of rushed, quick presentation. So next slide. And so the ground level looks like this. I meant the pink, the salmon color is the retail areas. We hope to have restaurants on the right-hand side, retail in the center, cafe off Cochran, and then our lobby is in the orangish color, and that secondary lobby off Wilshire you saw. The porte-cochere is the white space driving from left to right from Cochran to Cloverdale, and then that's for drop-offs for ride sharing, so that the ride sharing doesn't happen on the side streets, but happens on our site. I think it's better for everyone. It's better for safety, all sorts of things. And then the ramps, the rectangular ramps you see is one going up on the right, goes up to the upstairs parking, and the one on the left is for employees and residents that go down at the top of the sheet. So you get a sense. And so all the salmon color or pinkish color is about 14,000 square feet, which will be done for retail. Next slide. And so that's a sense, that was that podium level that we talked about. You can see our fitness center in the far upper left-hand corner, and then the street edge again. You can see the separation that we're trying to keep from the Wilshire Beauty Supply, that we're just placeholder-wise put the Sontag imagery on there. But we think it's important that it reads as an individual building. It is incorporated underground, etc. So Next slide. So Andrea, this is one you may want to speak to.
Sure. So you'll see here that we do have a hotline, a phone number that you can reach us on, as well as our website, which I put into the chat. And ultimately, this is still going under a city review process. So we invite you to go onto our website, learn more. If you support the project, we would absolutely love for you to sign up as a supporter. If you have questions about the project, you can always email us. We will, get in touch with you. And even if, those of you who, because I think ultimately this is not just about, our project specifically, it's about really kind of the positive change that could happen on the Miracle Mile. And so any of you that want to help us get the word out, even if it's, you have businesses with storefronts, we'd be happy to drop off flyers, anything that you can do, anything that you think makes sense in terms of opening up this dialogue to the entire community, because there's a lot of things that are happening here. We've got the metro line that is on its way. We've got a lot of change economically. We've got a housing crisis we have to address. So these are all things that as a community, we would love to, continue this dialogue about this project and how it can become a catalyst for positive change in the community. And so our website is 5411wilshire.com.
So next slide. So that's just that's the end of our presentation. So with that, I think I'd bring it back to you, Steve.
Great. Can we turn off the screen sharing?
Yeah.
Terrific. Perfect. All right. So just at this point, I know we're going to do a little Q&A. If you will raise your hand electronically, or you can do it physically, I will get to you. And we also have some chat. If you want to put your question in the chat and you don't want to ask it, I can read the chats as well. And we can start off with, let me just do a little chat here. Marcella from Bootcamp LA says, can we dare to dream of a rooftop restaurant?
Do you want me to answer it? Okay, we'll just get it. I think I'm going to disappoint. Yes, we're not going to have a rooftop restaurant. It'd be a beautiful idea, but it's not planned for.
All right. From Noah Haas Cohen, this building will completely dwarf everything around it. It will add to traffic on all the smaller streets. For example, the stoplight at Cochran and Olympic, as well as traffic on La Brea. Specific commitment to green park areas mentioned are not previewed. Why does this building need to be so tall? So it seems like there's 4 questions here. One is, what is the impact to traffic at the stoplights and the smaller streets, and the commitment to green park areas and the tallness of the building? If you could address those 3, Wally.
Sure. So absolutely. And I may need to be reminded exactly. So the height of the building. So I think Noah, right? So no, we're able to build so many units. And when we studied the project, we either are going to build a shorter, fatter, squattier building, which we could do, which would be smaller. But I think the shadow that it casts on all of the neighborhood and north of us would be gigantic, and I think that would be a detriment. It is also, I think when you get into this type of building, it's all about the view, and to entice people to live here, I think having an elegant building with world-class architecture, and when we look at the height and the incentives for affordable housing, we get to the number of stories. We're at 42 stories. There is no height limit in this district. It's unique. It's part of the Wilshire Corridor Plan. It's a regional center. It is designed for intense density at a subway stop. I mean, that's really what the zoning, the underlying zoning is encouraging. And it's encouraging developers to add affordable housing to it. And for that, you get these incentives. So the building could be smaller and shorter, but then there wouldn't be any affordable housing. And I don't think that's what we want. That's not what I want from my city. I think that people need to live closer to where they work. And I think that people need to live on big transit lines. And those that do, hopefully will go to work and shop and play without a car. And I, for one, am a very heavy user of public transportation. I use it before the virus. I was using it every week. And I plan to use it again as soon as things open up again. So regarding...
Yeah, I want to say something. I understand what your purposes are, though there's another comment there that really explains why this isn't really about affordable housing. But what I really object to is you trying to tell us that this will improve my neighborhood. I live in a small, nice little neighborhood. So from my perspective, this does not add to my neighborhood. And I find it very condescending that you and Andrea were saying, well, we will improve your neighborhood. I don't need you to improve my neighborhood. All these buildings that are being built actually reduce the quality of my life in my neighborhood. And all these units around me also increase the cost of rents for people in my neighborhood. So this is the equation that you're trying to provide us is really, I feel like it's a little bit insulting my intelligence. I understand that this is a commercial project that is intended for profit. That doesn't mean that I should think that this helps me. And especially when you don't have a concrete plan how you're going to add greenery or parks or anything around us. So I would appreciate an approach that was just more straightforward about that. I think this building is too tall. It will shadow that little Art Deco building of the Wilshire Beauty Supply. No doubt about it, with its dazzle and with its glass. And the whole idea about the views, that's not for me. For me, as a resident here, it obstructs my views. It gives views to the people who are going to live there. I'm not going to live there. I have my own home here. And I have enough of all these large buildings around me. And it's all going to eventually look like the Westwood Corridor. So, although
thank you, Noah, if you
I'm
just
stopping.
Just give Wally a chance to respond, and then we do have to keep our questions brief. He does have a website and a way to contact them with your concerns, and I totally want to validate your concerns. It's just we have to give credence to the other people who are raising their hands as well. So Wally, if you'd just like to address that, and then we can.
This is my neighborhood too, just as much as yours, and I have lived in this neighborhood, and I've been engaged in making this neighborhood beautiful over the last 25 years through my efforts with the Miracle Mile Civic Coalition. Regarding trees and space, we have a lot of trees on the project and a lot of trees on street level. Regarding the investment that we're making with Park and Rec is to find opportunities for new parks or to enhance existing parks. So that is the process of what goes on. I think to the others' comments, I think we just respectfully disagree. And I think we have to leave it at that. I don't believe that this project is going to be increasing rents in the neighborhood, especially rents on the older buildings that are set by LA rent control that can't go up in price, but by the fixed amounts by law. So I just don't agree with that statement, but we should move on to the next. But please, Noah, reach out. I will more than happy have a separate conversation if you wish in the future.
Great. All right. And Andrea, I'm sure you've got Noah's information on the chat there. Molly, I'm going to take Molly's question next. She raised her hand. So Molly, you can unmute.
Hi there. Thank you. Molly Baszler. Yeah, I was just curious. I also live in the neighborhood. I'm an environmentalist. I'm actually running for city council, but District 5, not 4. One of my things is, we are in a homelessness crisis, and 38 units in a huge building like this really isn't enough. It's not enough affordable housing. We need more affordable housing, nice affordable housing. But I'm looking at what is, we are in a climate emergency. We're in a complete breakdown of our climate. Hottest summer, fires burning, air we can't breathe. We're in COVID. I mean, one thing after another. And it's not enough just to have parking with electrical charges or using bikes or you live in the neighborhood. We need green buildings and planting the palm trees. They do not sequester carbon. like a pine tree or another kind of species of tree. So I just don't see where the greenery is. Why not adhering to what is going on our planet? Because we are not in a bubble. And what we do in LA affects people in New York and affects people up and down the coast, as we see with the fires. So where's the environmental issue here? Why aren't you building green and sustainable building and affordable housing?
Well, Molly, I think I am building affordable housing. In fact,
38 units.
I'm sorry, I'm doing above and beyond what's required by the code. I don't think there's been any affordable housing built in the Miracle Mile in the last 5 or 10 years on new buildings. So I think I'm going to be the first one to add it in our neighborhood. 2, I do recall in March and April when my friend, my Angelinos would say, look how beautiful our sky is. People are not driving their cars as much. It was pretty amazing. And I think having and supporting and encouraging electrified cars is not putting carbon that cars do, because Molly, that cars are a big impact.
I'm sorry, Wally, you're freezing there a little bit on your Zoom.
On our air quality. Second,